if this is any more incentive to watch football, I don't know what it is. Because people like chaos, right? Theoretically.
I don't know, but if this is what chaos is, I don't want it anymore.
Welcome back to the James and Dame Show. I'm Josiah.
And I'm Will.
And today we're going to go over the recap for Week 5. It was an ugly one.
It wasn't a super pretty week.
It was ugly. So
yeah. I guess kind of kicking off 49ers upsetting the Rams on Thursday night. It wasn't like super surprising, but it was a little unexpected on my if we both picked the Rams, so we were both, I think, kind of upset by how they showed up, but
it's like
Mac Jones just decided that he wanted to be a starter again,
I guess. And Kendrick Bourne was actually pretty good, so they have the New England connection there. But what I'm surprised is that the Rams decided to go with the run game instead of the pass game, even though Stafford had, what was it, almost 400? No. Or 300-some yards in the air, or whatever it was. The run game had at least one fumble that I can remember, and the run game was just kaput that entire night, and they decided to run it on that fourth down instead of throwing the ball. So that's all McVay. I don't think it's all necessarily Stafford's fault. I think it's McVay's fault. So
I mean, there's a level of, like, their defense did not play to the level that they wanted, or that they should have been playing at. But I'll say, like, there are a lot of these games where these kind of top tier teams, at least of what we have had as top tier teams, kind of struggled and didn't play their best game. Oh, there was a lot of that this week. I guess another case of that is the Broncos upsetting the Eagles. I can't say I'm upset by this because I like the Broncos right now.
Because you picked them, right?
I did not.
Okay.
I think I might have mentioned that it wouldn't have been surprising. This is, of the undefeated teams, this was the one, if I had to guess, this is the one I would have guessed would have been the undefeated team going into the week to lose. But suffering a loss. I mean, the Eagles didn't score on their last 5 drives. Meanwhile, Bo Nix and the Broncos looked real good on the last two
drives,
on their last 2 scoring drives. They put together a really good game and closed it out. Eagles almost did more of what the Eagles do, which is kind of just almost barely enough. They came up like 30 yards short of doing it again, which I would have been really annoyed. But
yeah, because what was it? A.J. Brown technically knocked the ball out of Smith's hand.
That's
in the Hail Mary.
Yeah, people will.
If I can't win the game for us, then nobody can.
Yeah, people will say things.
I think it's just a funny caption that I saw somewhere.
But yeah, the Eagles, that offense is kind of showing a lot more concern than, like the early weeks. It's kind of like more of the same. They'll complain and all of it, like this and that. They're gonna bring up drama, but they're gonna stick together and they'll end up doing really well. Right now, like, nothing is really working well for them on offense. Saquon's not producing a lot. A.J. Brown's not producing a lot. Devonta Smith is frustrated, but he's producing a little more.
Yeah, it's A.J. Brown that's struggling the most. I think it all has to do with their OC right now, just because he's fresh. He's new to the whole position. I mean, you can't really put too much blame, I'd say, on the players. But then again, at some point, it does shift to the players.
Yeah, it can be tough, and a lot of it is like there's so many aspects, which is why it's hard to point to just one thing. I guess staying on the topic of the undefeated teams, at least formerly undefeated teams, the Patriots upsetting the Bills. I think this one was really unexpected, and I feel like, I don't know what it was, but I think it's just like those first 2 weeks of Patriots football really just didn't spark any confidence in the Vrabel era. And I think that, like, now I think there's
life here. I mean, if we're following trends, they went, what was it? They started...
I think they've kind of alternated.
They've alternated wins and losses.
They have a 2-game win streak right now, though.
Yeah, so they kind of flipped it. But it still doesn't matter.
Last week was the Panthers. Like,
yeah, no one's going to lose to the Panthers, right?
Miami. I mean, we'll get to that one in just a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, just a second here.
The Patriots and Bills, obviously we called that Sunday night, and the Bills kind of just shot themselves in the foot a lot.
Like 12 or 13 penalties it was. Like, obviously, you're not going to win with that many penalties on you. Also, just that interception in the third quarter?
Yeah.
Something like that. That interception was costly. It just happened to happen. Patriots, I know we had this whole discussion that night, but I am still not entirely confident in this Patriots unit only because you know how things are. I mean, you had the Giants this last week beat the Chargers. Like you're going to have those really bright moments for your season, but does it really reflect the rest of it? Like that's what I
think there's a difference though, because I think the Patriots are actually like a solid team. The Giants are not a good team, but they're relying on a rookie, and that's just, some flash from a rookie. This is a team that's not quite fully put together, but it's coming together, and you have a new coach. This is a very big stepping stone. Drake May looked good. Stephon Diggs had a great game, and you can say what you want about the off-the-field antics, but you can't argue how well he did.
He did produce, and it was something that he did historically too. When he played against Allen when he was on the Texans, he had a historic game too. I mean, like whenever he moves to a different team, whenever he plays his former team, he ends up doing really well. So it's just kind of a trend that he just happens to do.
I think it's just I mean, he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Yes, and that's how he does so well. It's just that he can,
he's very
do well.
He's very charged by emotion, which
very much so
causes issues elsewhere. But again, in these kind of situations, does very well. He had mentioned after the game like how much of it was personal, and he said 100%. So we know that he came out here and was like, he had a goal.
Yeah, he had
a vendetta against Buffalo, and he kind of got to prove it.
He had a vendetta against Buffalo, not Josh Allen.
No, yeah, because I don't think a lot of it's like directed at Josh Allen itself.
No, I mean there's been frustrations between the two of them in the past, especially that one that divisional game against the Bengals a couple years ago. There was that whole thing where he was just like, Josh Allen, what are you doing, kind of thing. But
it's
it happens. It happens. So I don't think there's any beef between them. I think it's just a good rivalry that we just have now. So moving on from that, because that's just a whole thing right there. Vikings winning against the Browns in was it London now? So I mean, not much of a shocker that they won. How they won is very concerning. Because the Browns actually started pulling through a little bit towards the end. I mean, if it wasn't for Jordan Addison and his touchdown towards the end, Vikings would have gone home with a loss here.
I mean, Vikings, you're looking at, again, your quarterback right now against a good defense is Carson Wentz. And the thing that's kind of scary with the Browns here is they potentially have a more productive quarterback. Dylan Gabriel has gone out there. And again, the Vikings defense is not something to scoff at either.
No.
Gabriel went out and actually played pretty, at least compared to what Joe Flacco had done. he gave that offense a lot more life, and so if you're in Cleveland, even though you come away with a loss, this team isn't great. You have some optimism with that game, and so I don't know if you're Cleveland that you're really complaining that much.
No. I will say this though: I have not seen Carson Wentz and Prince Harry in the same room. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Carson Wentz actually speak in a British accent.
That you know of.
Okay. But yeah, that game, again, Cleveland, you're just happy to see some of the young guys shine, I think.
Specifically, Dylan Gabriel. I mean,
Gabriel
he didn't
Judkins.
do
Fannon's
a lot.
doing really well, too. Like, a lot of your picks are doing pretty well.
Judkins did pretty well.
Yeah, Judkins, yeah.
So you got some promise there. I'm not going to talk about him because I know people are going to be upset that he's not starting. So moving on.
I did want to touch just slightly on the Miami Carolina game. Because
Yeah, I was about to say that's kind of what I was looking at right now.
At the early window, that was absolutely the most. Well, so the Denver Philly game was also the early window, but I think the game to watch was more of, at least to me, all game long, Miami Carolina was more.
It was an interesting thing because Miami was leading for most of that game, and then the Panthers
Carolina had a
No.
really rough start to that game.
we're gonna win this game, and you're gonna watch, and you're gonna suffer. So that's what the Panthers did. So
I don't know what it was. It gives a little bit of Maction vibes with the it's not good football, but it's exciting football.
It's exciting.
It's the kind of bad football that makes it fun for the people watching.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, they're so bad, but this is so good.
It's the thing where it's like, oh wow, because the Panthers took the lead late, and then I look down, I look back up, Dolphins scored in
2 seconds or
it was
whatever.
2 seconds, and I was like, what happened?
What happened?
And then Carolina managed to drive down and score, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Covering a couple other games that we don't really need to cover too much. Bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum. That's all I'm gonna sing because I get copyright. Indiana Jones and the Colts. Whoa, curb stomped the Raiders. Was it 9 interceptions on the season for Geno Smith right now? Yikes! And it's only week 5, or soon to be week 6. That's not good. So they got to make a change there. And that was one of the things that you were talking about this last live stream about someone's got to make a change here soon. Raiders are looking to be one of the ones who should make a change.
There are a few teams that are, and I think we could get to that in a bit. I do want to cover just some of these actual good games because I think I got 3 more other than that because again, a lot of Sunday's games were not pretty.
They were ugly.
And the conversation there isn't what happened in the game, but more what needs to be done with these teams.
Yes.
But as far as the interesting games, Tennessee, Arizona, Arizona fumbled that game away.
Quite literally. I've never seen such a complete incomplete team that has played an incomplete game while completing the game in my entire life because Titans won that game somehow. I don't know how they did, but they won the game.
Just the way the Cardinals have been. They're
it's such a dumb way to lose too. And I think it was all 3 Arizona losses came down to a specific instance or a specific.
They lost all of them on last second field goals.
That's what it was, and they shouldn't be in that situation.
And it's tough. 2 of them are division losses, which is tough.
Which is even worse.
This one stings because this is not a good Tennessee team. This is not a team that should have even
awful Tennessee.
This was the lowest scoring offense coming into the week, with 51 points through 4 games.
Yes.
So this is not a team that should have put up over 20, and they really shouldn't have gotten to 20 anyways, but they just mistakes. That interception fumbled for a touchdown was atrocious.
That is That is the epitome of let's put this circus music on and just watch it go, because that was a mess. Just
And then-
trying to get that ball into the end zone.
And you wanna talk some like, I mean, there's actually some news tied to this, but the was it Amari DiMercato?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Fumbled through the end zone. We've seen it so many times. Like it happens every year, sometimes a couple times a year,
And then lo and behold,
well, and the news that kind of follows that up is clips came up of Jonathan Gannon not like hitting DiMercato on the sideline, which is like the only thing I could think of is just flashbacks to Urban Meyer, which is not a good sign. And
no, which is not, which is why I was like,
and Gannon got fined, and
I mean,
I misread it the first time I saw it, and I thought I saw Cardinals fining Gannon, and I saw it as firing Gannon, and I was like, what? And then I saw $100K, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's a fine. But and to be fair, like if you're Jonathan Gannon, it's been rough, it's been frustrating because this team is like not performing horribly, but they're just not doing enough to win games.
Yeah. And speaking of somebody else getting fined, so we don't need to really talk much about the game. Obviously, the Cowboys beat the Jets. Who would have guessed that? Jets, a lot of garbage time points. Cowboys, sneaky good offense at the moment, even without CeeDee Lamb. Defense is still kind of mid, though. What I was pointing to is that Jerry Jones was at MetLife, and he flipped off some Jet fans, and he got fined, what was it?
$250K.
$250K, yeah. Which is like, that's like pennies to him.
I don't. The funny thing is, I just don't know. I don't know what to believe because his explanation just doesn't make any sense. He went on a podcast and said,
Of course he's
I
on a
was
podcast.
He goes on a podcast and he's like, I didn't mean to flip them off. That's not what I was going for. I went to, there was a bunch of Cowboys fans and I meant to give a thumbs up, but I came out and I'm like, how do you give the, I don't know. I'm like, either this is the biggest pile of BS or
Bro,
you have some serious brain concerns because that's
not how it works.
I don't know.
Speaking of brain concerns, so how is your head after watching the Ravens game?
Listen. The game itself extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
The whole game, I just didn't want to watch it because I knew what it was going to be. It was going to be our defense doesn't show up against a bad offense.
And they really didn't show up.
No, neither did
44 points is ridiculous.
Offense didn't show up either. Cooper Rush is not the solution at quarterback. They are a team that I was going to talk more about afterwards, after we get through the games. But no, there's absolutely nothing looking good, and I think the most disappointing news is that John Harbaugh is hoping to stick with Zach Orr, and and here another thing I heard or I saw was that the Ravens are planning to make changes. They said they're going to change something,
make changes, quote unquote.
but that's not. They're not. I guess that's not the change they're looking at, and it's just a wait and see. But there's a lot of changes that need to be made there, and that's what I'll say. Texans, it's an ego boost. I don't know how well it speaks to anything for them. The Ravens are just in hell right now. The other two games that I want to talk about are Buccaneers and Seahawks, which was a shootout.
I loved that game.
It's just fun. You see Baker and Sam Darnold, who at one point had both been kicked off the teams they were drafted by.
Recruited by the Panthers.
Albeit they were from the same class too. They were 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. And now they're playing against each other on teams that they were not drafted by, and they were doing fantastic. Obviously, one had to lose.
And
it just came down to the wire.
It came down to a interception that wasn't like, I mean, it's not Sam Darnold's fault, but it ricocheted off of a helmet. It was not a misfire.
It was just the receiver or tight end, whoever it was, just not catching the ball.
No, it went off of a lineman's helmet.
Oh, then
it ricocheted off. So it's just like kind of unfortunate. Again, part of it's like Sam Darnold, you have to get it over the line, but
at the same time, it's like you can't really predict the movement of the line as they were going.
It's just unfortunate, and it came down to the wire. And I mean, I was pulling for the Buccaneers because I do like Baker more, but I like seeing Sam Darnold play a little bit better and kind of actually live up to that hype that he got from last year. But just very, very fun game to watch. Mm-hmm. And then there was the Chiefs and the Jags. This game, it was actually an entertaining game.
It was pretty entertaining.
Chiefs now 0-3 in one-score games, which is a complete flip from last year.
And I'm happy about that because now they get a taste of their own medicine.
I will say their offense is playing a lot better, which is a little concerning. But
I mean, better in the sense of more consistency. I will say that
they're actually moving the ball.
They're moving the ball, yes. And they also have Thornton to make explosive plays.
Well, they have Worthy back, which has been a huge addition.
He did a bit, but not a whole lot.
Rashee Rice is almost back too.
Yeah, we'll see how good that offense is. We'll see. Their defense, few question marks here and there.
For the Chiefs?
Yeah, for the Chiefs here and there. But other than that, I think both their defenses, Jacksonville and Kansas City, they're both pretty good. So
I look at this and I see they had some misfires. The Jags did. I really like their defense. Devin Lloyd is having a great season.
Yes,
especially on that pick six. But like they got gashed on some plays, admittedly.
Yes, they did. I watched that live.
I think a part of that is just again the Chiefs. They have fast receivers. They know how to use fast receivers, so they're gonna get a little bit scarier as the year goes on. But can we talk about the ending to that game? Because I watched that live and
me too, buddy.
I've had so many, like, it's hard for me to say that it is truly the epitome, but it feels like the epitome of, oh no, oh yes. That's like really what it feels like.
Out of context, that's a little bit weird.
Why?
Anyway, so yeah, I watched this live. So it was me and two other people who were watching this game, and it was literally a few plays before the scoring drive to end the game. Obviously, I assumed you saw this too. Trevor Lawrence sitting on the sideline, just casually putting his nose up there.
Everyone's like, he's picking his nose. I'm like, leave the guy alone. He's got something in his nose.
And then I sat there, I'm like, this is either going to be the biggest point of his career or this is going to be the funniest moment of his career and it's going to haunt him for the rest of it.
How about both?
This is literally the epitome of both because lo and behold, he goes out, he scores, yes, on the game-ending drive, but he falls not once, twice. Well, he couldn't get back up.
Well, I mean, it's hard to get up, especially when you're in such a rush. But I don't know if you saw why he actually fell, but he got stuck. Yeah, his right guard stepped on his foot, and so he
couldn't get back up.
And so the play design was a pass play
the original, yes.
I like watching it. I was able to pick it apart, but Trevor even went off afterwards and was like, "Yeah, I got up and was just gonna throw it away," and then he was like. Then I noticed there was no one around me, and he just got.
All right, I'm gonna go.
So that first fall, that's not on him at all. The second one,
it was definitely on him.
I was like, oh no, he's just gonna take a sack here, but he managed. His O-line did a great job.
I was about to say, give credit to that O-line, please, because that O-line was holding down the fort for a while. I will say this though. Overall, that game was pretty fun, classic Monday night, which is not usually what I say sometimes. But the one player that I'm like, yeah, I should have expected this from you. Chris Jones. What kind of effort was that towards the end of the game, huh? just, no, I'm just stand here. Oh, okay, I guess they won. You get paid a lot of money just to stand around and do nothing, huh? Show me what kind of attitude you have, crying all the time on the sideline.
I do.
Great player. Just, why?
I mean, this is the kind of stuff you see towards the end of a dynasty. Yeah. Is just low effort. It's low effort from your bigger guys, a lot of arguing, and a lot of stuff off the field. But the last few things I want to take away from this game: one, Trevor, he had a pretty good game. He was the leading rusher.
He was the leading rusher. Same with Mahomes on the Kansas City Chiefs as well.
ETN still ran pretty well, but they struggled, and I think that's credit to the Chiefs' defense. Trevor Lawrence concerns me with some of the throws he was making. Yeah. He was very reckless.
Yes.
A lot of the times. He already had 2 turnovers, and he had some close calls. Yes. Very aggressive throws. But I also do want to give out some credit to Travis Hunter, who actually looked like he had a good game on both sides of the ball.
He had that beautiful catch from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that underthrow, the comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I saw out of him when I was reviewing film on him.
Yeah.
Is just his ability to go to find a way to get the ball.
He adapts.
Which
is what you want to see.
He's got a really good body control.
Yes, and I also saw him lay out a couple of Chiefs defenders too. So
he covered Travis. He covered Worthy like almost all night. So he did a great job.
Which is why you didn't really see Worthy. Well, Worthy made some plays, yes, but you didn't see a ton of Worthy that night. It's like there was a good corner guarding him all night. It could be me. I don't know.
I feel like the Jags are kind of actually figuring out how to use him. It's like he is good.
Figured it out.
He is good in the deep game. That's like what he excelled at. Is like he's actually good downfield. He's not just this quick little gadget guy.
No, he's your big play man. So
I mean, with Brian Thomas, that's what you hoped for. And then again, he can make plays on defense. And so I love to see him kind of actually flourish a little bit. Okay. But before we do go on to power rankings, because I did mention this, there's stuff outside of these games. There's news, and then there's also just some again, what do these teams do? So as far as news goes, some trades have
yes.
we had mentioned that some teams need to make changes. One of those was the Bengals.
They went to get Joe Flacco.
I initially, kind of scoffed at it. I was like, they didn't go get Jameis, stupid. And then I actually kind of sat and thought about it. And what would Jameis do? Kind of what Jake Browning is doing, but maybe a little bit better with the deep ball. It gives you some excitement. But the concern with the Bengals offense right now is your O-line can't block.
Yep.
You can't really develop a deep pass game with by going out getting a quarterback who only really throws deep balls and isn't that much more athletic than the guy you already have.
Yeah.
So you go out and you get Jameis, it's going to be the same thing. Or, hear me out, you go out and get a veteran who knows how to go through his progressions pretty quickly because he's a veteran, knows how to change stuff up at the line, and can just game manage and do well at getting the ball out quickly, which is what Flacco kind of has to do. He doesn't have the ability to go and launch it downfield. So
no,
set up a short pass game for him. That's what you're kind of supposed to do with a battle line, is a quick pass game. And he can, I think, honestly, when I thought about it from that perspective, I thought there's 3 guys available for that. Flacco, Wilson, and Wilson, again, he can give you kind of what I think Wilson honestly would have been the best of both worlds for him, where he can do that short stuff, but whatever's going on with him mentally is just not.
Moonball.
He said Moonball to Jamar Chase would be fun, though.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
But the only other guy I could think of is Kirk Cousins.
But even then, we don't talk about Kirk Cousins.
Apparently nobody has the Falcons' phone number, so...
No, not even the Bengals, who are desperately needed for a quarterback, or even the Raiders, because that was another thing I was going to talk about. Because what are the Raiders going to do? I know Geno Smith is Geno Smith, but
Yeah, I mean, we could go ahead and talk about the Raiders, who are another one of those teams who need to make a change, and I think it's too like you have this new staff. I think it's kind of early to make that change. So I feel like part of it is just we're seeing this Geno that isn't Seattle Geno anymore.
No, this is a different Geno. This is like
This is every other Geno.
yeah, this is not the Geno you want.
And you got to wonder if it's his time to step down. You have Kenny Pickett, so I think you give him a chance. I think if this next week it doesn't go well, you throw in Kenny Pickett. But if that looks still really rough, then you look at maybe trading. But like, there's not a lot of guys you can trade for right now.
Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson.
I think they could potentially go for a Jameis. I think they could develop something with Jameis. Again, the Bengals. Everyone wanted it because it's Jameis to Jamar, but he wouldn't have had time to do anything. I think he actually has potential to do stuff with the Raiders, but Raiders, you gotta make a change at quarterback, and your offense has a lot of concerns. But I do think switching Geno out is kind of the best approach there. Mm-hmm. Another team needing to make a change. I mean, I'll say 3 teams that should, going into the week, I was going to say need to absolutely make a change that maybe have stalled a little bit longer. You got the Saints. It was Saints, Panthers, and Titans. Mm-hmm. Saints was, I think, a quarterback change, but Rattler, I think, kind of secured it purely because of his defense. And then Panthers and Titans coaching, I think, it needs to be on the hot seat. I'm not sure if you know of any. Well, I know of 2 other ones, but there was kind of a change between both the Ravens and the Chargers. Chargers they have some injuries, so they need to kind of replace some of that depth. I think they're hurting on the edge, which they went out and traded with the Ravens for Odafe Owe, who's kind of not really stepped into his own. Mm-hmm. But it's a kind of fresh start for him. And then for the Ravens, they got, I believe it's Alohi Gilman.
I know it was Gilman. I just can't remember his first name.
He's a safety, and I don't know how. The only thing that makes me feel like is Kyle Hamilton's injury is more concerning than you thought.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing I can think of, because safety wasn't you got the young guy, Malachi Starks, and then you got Kyle Hamilton, who's not just a Pro Bowler, but an all-pro safety. So that's not really what your concern should be. And then they also went out and got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Why are they getting so many safeties? I mentioned they need to do something. They need to fix the defense. They need to fix stuff with the offense too. But picking up 2 safeties does not feel like the solution.
No, not really.
And I feel like they're trying to do everything to avoid firing somebody, which is just... Ravens need to do so much more than what they're doing, and I think you have if there's another week of this, I think it's, and if it's not Zach Orr, I don't know. I don't know what to do with them anymore. I don't know. But the Chargers, they get a potential helpful piece. They need some O-line help. But other than that, I don't know if you think. If you have any other teams that you think could use some changes, that have some necessary changes, maybe like the Dolphins, or if not any specific team, any coaches that you think are really on the hot seat early here.
I mean, Titans, like, just because they got a win doesn't mean he's safe.
No.
I can't really tell at the moment. Like, everybody has a win up to this point besides the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
But even then, Aaron
it's his
Glenn is
first
not.
year.
Yeah, like, Aaron
It's
Glenn's
so
fine. I'm
early.
more concerned about some other coaches. Like, I mean, before Jackson Dart went in, Brian Dable was really on the hot seat. Zach Taylor could be on his way out if he continues to digress. There's a lot of things that could happen. But yeah,
Thoughts on Mike McDaniels?
I haven't been able to gauge him yet. I think he should be on his way out, but at the same time, it's who are you going to replace him with?
I mean, you throw in an interim and hope that they do better, but at this point, this team is bad enough to where you
just-
don't have high expectations.
Yeah.
So it's just
I'm
kind of
curious to see what they do here. But yeah, other than that, those are the only things.
Any guesses for who the first coach fired will be? I feel like we've done this the past 2 years, and
did.
I don't think we ever get it right.
No, we never do.
Because
You know what? Just because I know that teams are going to be so weird about this, I'm actually going to pick Mike McDaniel. Just because the NFL is so inconsistent about firing their head coaches. Because what was it last year? We were thinking, who was it? It was. I mean, we didn't pick Robert Saleh when he was on the Jets, but
because I think he was the first.
he was
but
the first, yes. But he
that was just because of Aaron Rodgers.
That was Aaron Rodgers. That was not because of anything else.
I think we were saying a lot like, what is it? This I don't think it was the Saints.
No, it wasn't the Saints. It was who was it? I don't remember. But the point still being is that knowing that the NFL is consistent, I think Zach Taylor and like Callahan should go first. They should go first. But knowing the NFL, McDaniel is probably going to be the first one.
I don't think any of the AFC North ones.
No.
Because I think Stefanski's potentially in that boat too.
He could be, but we'll see what he does with Dylan Gabriel and what he has right now. Because, like I said, in previous points that we've discussed, is that the Browns, they're the Browns. Like you're gonna go through coaches as much as you're gonna go through quarterbacks. Except with recently, Stefanski's been there for like how many years now? 5.
He's been there a while.
Yeah, so which is unheard of for Browns coaches. So like that's the point, is that this guy is your best head coach you've had in a while. Are you willing to fire him after all this time?
AFC North is always bad about like they're not quick to make those decisions.
It has to be a really bad situation in order for him to get fired.
I think the North is going to wait till the end of the year. So like even Zach Taylor, if it continues to go bad, especially with this move with Joe Flacco, I think this is kind of a, hey, you get some wins, you actually might have your job at least through the end of the year.
Exactly.
So yeah, like to me, it could be Zach Taylor. I think McDaniels is being fired is such like a weird concept to me, but think
it's reality.
I think it's gotta be like I think it's gotta be him.
It's him or Callahan.
But even then, he's got a young guy. I think it's almost him or Dable if Dable doesn't continue to spark some confidence with Dart. But I think my pick is also gonna be with Callahan, maybe Canales.
Canales could probably be out there.
But they're looking Panthers are looking a little bit better.
Yeah, so I'm a bit hesitant on the Panthers. So
it's going to be someone who's just like, yeah, we're fed up.
But we'll find out.
We'll go with Canales right now. I'll go with Canales for some reason. But with
Power
that,
rankings.
Yeah, we'll go on to power rankings. I don't know if you have any, but this last week had made it very difficult for a top 10, so I actually have 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah, I might just do that as well because it's also kind of hard to put everybody up there. So I'm going to start off with my honorable mentions, quote unquote. So Jacksonville hasn't been in my top 10 yet. So it's just a matter of how I view things at the moment. I think they're definitely top 15. I'm not sure if they're top 10 yet. You see more of Trevor Lawrence and what he does there.
So you have them as an honorable mention?
So they're currently my honorable mention. They're like 12th or 11th right now. Like they're on the cusp of getting to the top 10. They just have to, do a little bit more. Even if their win against Kansas City was there, but it was pretty sloppy for the most part. Well, sloppy in the sense of they could have easily beaten the Chiefs by at least more than
Trevor
mere field goal.
Trevor had his shining points and his downsides. I have two honorable mentions, like I mentioned. One is the Seahawks, and that is them have very much performed above what I expected. And even though they're coming off of a loss, it's a loss against a team that actually has looked pretty good. So, and I have like a little sneak peek. I have the Bucks up there quite a ways. So I'm giving the Seahawks some credit for a close loss in that game. And I also have the Commanders, who I actually had them top 10, but because of some things that happened and because their win against a Chargers team that didn't look great last week and is very banged up, I kind of have them just on the outside. But yeah, I'll let you go on to number 10.
So this one's hard, only because there are a lot of teams that I just couldn't figure out where to put them. But I will say for number 10, I will have the Commanders. Yes, they have a rough stretch ahead, but they are going to get McLaurin back sometime eventually. So they have most of their pieces still. So there's no reason to kick them down that far.
And they did look good again. Like, even though it's a banged up Chargers team,
it's still a good Chargers team.
Their defense is still pretty good, and they still performed well. So you just got to give them some credit there. Me at number 10, I put the Denver Broncos with their win over the Eagles. And maybe this is like a little low, but the way they came back and won, it was rocky at first, but I like the way they played late. And I'm also hesitant to put them super high just because of how they started the year. But they do seem like they're starting to get back into that swing. So I gave them some credit. I put them over the Commanders and Seahawks with just the highest quality win of them. Obviously, Seahawks didn't actually win. But there's not a lot of teams in front of them that have lost this week. So it's kind of tough to actually, to pass the teams in front of them is a lot to say. And again, they could, if the defense ends up playing like we expected them, they will continue to rise. But right now, they're really doing a lot more on that offense than we expected. And I think that's kind of what is holding them down, even though the offense is playing well. So,
okay. For number 9, this one is like it's the 6 through 10 positions. I've still had trouble figuring it out. I will say for number 9, I actually think I have the Rams right here.
Interesting.
Because their loss to the Niners was pretty detrimental. How they lost that game kind of put me off the wrong way, I'm not going to lie. So I'm not saying they're bad. They just need to regroup. And I think a win next week could easily bump them back up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I ironically have the 49ers here because...
Yeah, I was about to say 49ers are on the cusp of top 10 for me, too. So.
I'm very hesitant with that. Like, the way they're playing...
injured.
They're really injured, and I'm hesitant to put them up. They're continuing to play well, but the way they're injured, the guys they actually have out there right now, I just... Like, if they keep doing it, yes, they'll keep moving up, but just... You have no rushing touchdowns through the year so far. Like, I just don't know what to...
You stop their pass game, they can't do anything.
I mean, well, they still have a ground game. They just haven't been able to find the end zone with it, which with CMC is kind of
Weird.
yeah.
It's not normal. So I don't know. With that one.
I just don't know what to expect, but they're winning against good teams. So I have to give them some credit. And oddly enough, Mac Jones is kind of just being a very crucial point to that team. So I don't know.
We'll see.
49ers at 9.
Okay. At number 8, I have the Seahawks. I don't, because this is the weird point where I was trying to shuffle things around, not changing things because people had, or a team that was on a bye week, but at the same time, some wins were more important than others. It was just really hard to put them in places. Seahawks, they're good. Don't get me wrong. That defense is a concern to me.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I was concerned about going into this season was how good was that Seattle Seahawks defense.
I mean,
and it's no Legion of Boom. I know that from the beginning. It's just I expected a little bit more from them. And I know they were going to be in a shootout, especially with the Buccaneers.
yeah.
And it was going to be a good game regardless. I think it was definitely probably the game of definitely the week for sure, in my opinion.
I don't know. It shaped up to have a lot more like good games towards the end. It's just that early window that was so rough on Sunday. But.
So, I mean, that's where I have them. I mean, as I go up through this, I think I will have a better time explaining why. But just purely off of what I have, it just seems weird.
I get you. At number 8, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who,
Which is completely fair.
I mean, again, say Chiefs are 2-3. They've been sloppy. Say what you will, it's still the Chiefs, and you still go out and
You knock them out.
You have a really good win. Again, their defense is a lot of fun to watch. They're really good and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense, Trevor's got. He's very risky. And he's like a lot of his game has developed pretty well, and I like what they're doing. I really like what Liam Cohen is doing.
He's slowly developing him into something. So I'm
mean,
letting him work with him.
Beyond Trevor Lawrence. I just like what he's doing with that team. He's not just developing a good offense. I think he's working well with his staff to make a good defense. He's just really patched up that team, and
Something they've needed for a while.
he's up there right now with one other guy, I think, for like Coach of the Year early nomination. Yeah. He's one other guy who will get mentioned. But I really like what they're doing with a lot of that team. And my only like 2 concerns with that team right now are still Trevor Lawrence and kind of still what's going on with Brian Thomas. He looked a little bit more like himself this last week, but he's I'm still concerned there.
I get it. So at 7, this one's. I have the Packers here. I didn't really want to change them too much because they were on a bye week, and that's about it. So, go
Fair.
into your.
My number 7 is the Rams. I did drop them down a bit, but I did keep them over the 49ers and the Jags because I still like to me, the Rams kind of stay here because I still view them more as a contender than anything. I think their ceiling is still a lot higher. They're still like my favorite for the NFC West, and a lot of the ways they're playing, they're like one of those NFC contenders or at least NFC Championship contenders. So they have some concerns, especially with that like secondary. I think is part of that issue. The run game, like you had mentioned, is not as strong, I think, as they need it to be as like a real contender. But they do have a really good squad, and the losses they have are like rough. It's to the Eagles and the 49ers though. And you beat the Colts last week. So like they're just like being juggled right now. Last week, it just poor taste left in the mouth is why they dropped a little bit.
Okay. For 6, I have the Broncos. I really like what they did, and they're slowly developing into a team that honestly, I kind of like them. Normally, I don't really care too much for the Broncos, but they're doing better. I'm excited for them. Don't know how far they'll get with this team, but it kind of ties into what I have for number 5 as well, because for number 5, I have the Colts. Because these two teams are exciting. They're new. Their offenses are, developing into something that we haven't seen for a while, particularly with the Colts. They found their quarterback somehow in Daniel Jones. And then the Broncos, the system under Sean Payton, is just phenomenal. It's working out pretty well. I mean, they're working at it. Like they've improved a lot since this last year. So I'm excited for these two teams to make a statement for sure this year if they can keep it up. So that's why I have them at 5 and 6 right now. It's not to bash anybody else and their accomplishments. It's just these two teams are hot right now. Like they can build off of what they had this last week, especially the Broncos, because that win over the Eagles shows me that they can win the big games. So
yeah, I think the only reason why I have the Broncos a little lower is just because more concerns on the Eagles side,
which is valid.
So
Eagles are a bit messy. So.
Yeah, but my 6 and 5, I have Colts at 6, and again, I do like what they have, and I did have them move over the Rams. Mm-hmm. Beating out the Raiders in the blood isn't super impressive compared to who I have at number 5, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who looked really good, and against a more quality opponent, which is kind of why I have them higher. Baker has done it time and time again. He's done so well in these clutch moment. He's on the verge of potentially an MVP like season.
There's been grumblings of him making an MVP.
He's putting up good numbers. He's clutch in those games, and that's something you really want to see out of those MVP caliber candidates is how clutch can they be. So I have them over them just because of that. The Colts again played well, but your opponent doesn't give you a lot of credibility, or it doesn't give you as much credit as the Bucs did. So
okay, for number 4, I have the Buccaneers. Pretty much the same reason as you, just higher.
Yeah, I mean, mine's pretty much the same as yours, except I have this team shifted up a little bit more, which is the Packers at 2-1-1, which is kind of weird because they're going to be going against a 2-3 opponent. Awkward, but
they were on a bye week.
Well, yeah, and then there's the tie, but it's a funny looking at the records. But Packers, I still have that little notch down. I didn't move them really much at all. There's still some concerns with the last 2 games they played, but again, coming off a bye, they don't really move around too much. So didn't get better, didn't get worse, and not much else changed.
All right, so I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. So for 3, I have the Eagles. For number 2, I have the Bills, and number 1, I have the Lions.
Interesting.
Because Eagles, like we mentioned, really sloppy play. Bills just kept shooting themselves in the foot, so I'm hoping it's just a one-game hiccup. Eagles look like they've been doing it for weeks. That's the difference between the two of them. And
Eagles,
that's where I see it.
It's not even shooting themselves in the foot. It's just there's something going on with that offense that just isn't clicking.
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean. There's something inconsistent there. And then the Lions being they're just even their one loss to Green Bay, that hasn't deterred them from beating up everybody else. So I'm just leaving them at 1. So
I mean, mine's pretty similar, same teams, but I have Eagles at 3 because I agree. The offensive deficiency has dropped them a bit. I kept the Lions at 2 though because I think the Lions there's still they're a really good team. They're proving to not have dropped off as much as we initially thought. after losing their coordinators. So they're still a really good team. But I'm keeping the Bills at 1 because it's discipline issues. And I fully believe like those are not going to continue the entire year.
No.
I don't see those continuing the entire year. If you're going to be a top 3 team, that can't continue as a top 3 team. So either they're not going to be a top 3 team, or they'll get worked out. And so right now I'm in the boat of it'll get worked out. Maybe it costs them a couple of games, but they'll get it worked out and they'll continue to be best team in the league. I will admit I still have some concerns with that run defense, but the offense is still really good when it's not shooting itself in the foot. And I like the Bills a little bit more right now. I like them still on top, but it is by a lot less than it probably has been, and that's saying a lot because the Eagles have been pretty close to the Bills the past few weeks. So
that's fair. All right, so that's the end of our power rankings and the end of this recap video. Come join us in the Pick'em Leagues. We'll link it in the description of this video. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll hope to see you in the preview for Week 6. See ya.